everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and happy 2021 to you all. I hope you all enjoyed the Christmas and New Year period. Let me know what you all did during New Year's. I didn't do anything, I just stayed home because we've had like a mini outbreak of COVID cases in Melbourne, so I just wanted to make sure I was doing my part, staying safe and being at home. So what I'm going to be showing you all how to make today is Thai Sukiyaki, which is just the Thai version of the original Japanese Sukiyaki. And Sukiyaki is really just a variant of hot pot. So usually you'd go to like a Sukiyaki restaurant, or if you're at home, there'd be a big pot in the middle of the table and everyone would be cooking various vegetables and thin slices of meat and seafood in a big pot. Now, because I'm vegan, obviously I'm not going to be adding any meat or seafood into the dish today. But what I do have to add instead is vegan seafood. So what I've got here, you can see, I've got my favorite stuffed tofu. These are really good because they're going to soak up the broth. Some vegan fish cakes. I've got some vegan prawns. Some vegan fish balls. And some vegan squid, if you can see that. So I'm also going to be adding some leafy greens into the sukiyaki because you can't just have the mock meat. You need to have some vegetables in the dish, and it just tastes better with vegetables anyway. So what I've got here is some Napa cabbage. I've got some sliced bits of celery, if you can see that there. And I've also got this vegetable called kangkong. It's also called morning glory. You can get it from any special vegetable store that would sell Asian vegetables. If you can't find this, you can use baby spinach instead, but I do highly recommend that you try to find kangkong if you can, because it just has a really nice taste in the soup. I'm also going to be adding some mung bean vermicelli. They're also called bean threads. I do recommend that if you're adding a noodle into the sukiyaki, that it be mung bean vermicelli. It's just, in my opinion, the one that works the best with sukiyaki. So what you do is you just cook it in boiling water beforehand. Like you just boil a pot of water, put it in a bowl, pour the water into the bowl, and it just let it sit for a little bit and it should cook. So you should do that before you add it into the sukiyaki broth. So normally with sukiyaki, people usually add beaten egg into the suki broth to sort of create a egg drop effect in the broth. But because I'm vegan, I'm not going to be adding egg into the sukiyaki today. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to be adding yuba. Now yuba is just tofu skin or bean curd skin. It's really easy to make. You just have to have some unsweetened soy milk, cook it over, like pour it into a pan over medium-high heat and watch the soy milk sort of bubble and form a skin. And that once it starts to form a skin, you pull it off and it creates this sort of funny looking eggy type thing, if you can see it. I'm also going to be adding these bean curd rolls. Now these work really well in broth, so I'm going to be adding them today. I've never had them in sukiyaki before, but I'm sure they'll work really great. And the last thing I will be adding is the most important ingredient, the Suki sauce. If you can see that, it's just a fermented red bean sauce. This is actually my grandma's recipe, so you know it's authentic. It's made by a Thai grandma. And I'm actually running low. This is the last bit of sauce that I have, so I actually have to make some more. So if you're interested in the recipe for this, let me know and I can film a video of me making the Suki sauce for you all, so you all have a authentic Suki sauce to add to your sukiyaki. Now, if you don't want to make your own sukiyaki sauce, you can just buy a pre-made sauce from an Asian supermarket or an Asian grocer. I will put some links in the description box below to ones that I recommend that will go really well with sukiyaki. And that way you don't have to spend time making your own suki sauce. You can just buy it and add it to the sukiyaki, and it will taste just as good. Not as good as my grandma's sauce though, but still good. Okay, now that I've shown you all everything that I'm going to add into the sukiyaki, let's start the cooking. So the broth I'm using today is actually a veggie broth that I made. It's just, you boil some water, you just add some daikon, add some onion, some smashed garlic, and I also added some vegan mushroom seasoning. I'll link that in the description box for you also. I also added the ends of coriander / cilantro stalk. I also added some soy sauce and vegan fish sauce, which is the same brand of vegan fish sauce that I showed you in my last video. All the ingredients for this broth can be found in the description box below. It's really easy to make, and you can use it for a lot of other things besides sukiyaki. Okay, so the water's boiled now. So what I will do is I'll add the veggies first. Usually when you're making sukiyaki, you're supposed to add the meat first, but I like my veggies a little bit tender, so I'm going to add those first. The celery adds a really nice flavor to the broth as well, like a really nice aroma too. So as I was saying before, if you can't find kangkong, you can just use baby spinach. It works just as well. That's actually what I used to use sometimes when I couldn't get down to the vegetable grocer to get some kangkong. I just go to the supermarket down the road to get some baby spinach, and it works just as well. Oh, that smells so good. The vegetables just add just a little something extra to the broth. Like the broth already tasted really good beforehand, but just adding that celery and the napa cabbage just gives it a little bit more of an aroma. Okay, now I'm going to add the vegan seafood. Like, as I said in my last video, honestly, these like fish cakes and fish balls, you wouldn't even be able to tell they're vegan. That is a lot of stuff in the pot. Hope I can eat it all. Now I'm going to add the mung bean vermicelli. You don't have to use mung bean vermicelli, but as I said earlier, it is definitely the one that works the best with sukiyaki. Yeah, I've tried sukiyaki with other noodles before. It just doesn't taste as good as mung bean vermicelli. That's the best one. Okay, now I'm going to add the yuba. So with the yuba, you can actually use that to make like a vegan version of like Chinese chicken and corn soup. I usually have like the egg drop in the non-vegan versions. So you can definitely have all the same stuff you used to have before you went vegan. Okay, I think that's pretty much done. So just turn the heat off. See, it's really easy to make. It doesn't take that long because the vegetables don't take that long to cook, and all the mock meats don't take that long to cook either. Look at that, everyone. It smells amazing. That veggie broth just smells incredible. Now that it's done, you add the bean curd rolls when it's cooked. You don't want to overcook the bean curd rolls because but you get really soggy if you do. So you just should just melt and soften up with the heat of the broth. And you see, look at that yuba. If I can pick it up for you, it looks like once it's heated up and softened, just looks like egg drop. It's just so amazing what you can do with soy. Now, time to add the sauce. So you add the sauce at the end when you're eating it. So if I wasn't doing a mukbang for you all today, how I would normally eat this is I would cook it on a stovetop. Like I'd make a big batch of the broth beforehand and put it in the fridge. And then when I feel like eating it, I just heat up some of the broth in a small pot and then add all the ingredients into the pot and then serve it up in a bowl. And that's how I usually eat it. But because I'm doing a mukbang for you all today, I'm eating it out of my pan. That sauce is so good. I've got some extra sauce in the bowl. I like to dip my meat into the sauce, so it gives it a bit of extra flavor when I'm eating it. So good. It's a good day for sukiyaki as well, because it's currently been, this past week, pretty crappy weather in Melbourne. Very, very cold and gloomy, and sukiyaki is perfect for that weather. Oh, those vegan fish cakes are so good. You can't tell that they're vegan, honestly. There's the bean curd roll, all softened up from the broth. It just soaks up the broth so well. Definitely try the bean curd roll. I can't rate it enough. When you're having sukiyaki, you don't even need to add all this stuff that I've added. I've just added it to be a bit fancy, but you can just honestly add like the leafy greens, the mung bean, vermicelli, and just some tofu puffs or silken tofu, and it would be just as delicious. I also brewed my favorite type of tea to have with today's meal. I've been drinking this a lot lately. It's chrysanthemum tea. Just has a nice floral flavor to it, a nice floral aroma to it. Yeah, it's just really, really good. So since it's the new year, let me know if you all have any New Year's resolutions or goals for this year. One of my goals for the year is to do some more volunteering at animal sanctuaries. And actually, at the end of this month, T and I will be volunteering at Edgar's Mission. So that should be really fun. And I think it would be such a great experience to give back to the animals. Another goal that I have for this year is just to be more active. Like, I'm already quite an active person anyway, but I just wanted to be a little bit more active this year, more so like going on hikes, just getting out to nature more. So I also start law school this year. It will keep me busy. I definitely will have a busy year if I'm working full-time and studying part-time. That stuffed tofu is so good. So good. You can just never go wrong with a noodle dish in broth. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to get sick of this tea. And I think it aids with digestion as well. Like the other day, I had a bit of an upset stomach and I made some chrysanthemum tea. It really helped. I'm hoping this COVID thing is over sooner rather than later, but judging by the rest of the world, like the US and the UK, their current numbers at the moment. It's not looking good. And I really want to go traveling this year. I think I did read somewhere online that Australia, if we keep our numbers low or at zero, we could create a travel bubble with certain countries in Asia and in New Zealand as well. So I'm hoping things stay that way in Australia so I could at least go to some countries this year. I mean, I really want to go back to Japan, and now since they opened up that Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios in Japan, it just makes me want to go even more. I'm like such a big gamer and I really love Nintendo games, so that would be like a dream come true for me to be able to immerse myself in Nintendo. But not just me though, T really loves Nintendo as well, so I think we'd both have like such a great time there. So this whole time I've been filming, my cat's been sleeping on my shoes by the coffee table. So I'm currently filming on the coffee table and he's just sleeping. Like I could see him if I just poke my head. I'd like to adopt another cat, or maybe another 5 cats. Maybe one day when I have my own farm sanctuary. T and I talk about that all the time actually, but we both love animals so much and we would just one day hopefully like to retire and have our own farm sanctuary. Let me know if any of you have companion animals and if you would all like to one day have a farm sanctuary as well. I think that's kind of like the stereotypical vegan dream, is to retire with a farm sanctuary. Me talking about owning a farm sanctuary one day just gets me excited for volunteering at Edgar's Mission at the end of the month. I think it'll be so much fun to help out the animals and also get to cuddle with them at the end of the volunteer day. Okay, so I think I've had pretty much all I can have. I don't think I can fit any more into my stomach. I'm really, really full. And that brings us to the end of another mukbang video. Thank you everyone for watching me today. And I hope you enjoyed watching me make Thai Sukiyaki. I hope this is a recipe that you can all use yourself in the future. I highly recommend that you make this dish yourself one day because it's such a delicious, warm, comforting meal. Really good for a cold winter's day or just pretty much any day you're craving a noodle soup. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!